Howdy folks, Kirk and Jay here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today I'm going to explain something because a lot of folks will say, well, Kirk, I got this patch I need done. We already primered it for you, and I think that's kind of cute, but that's not what we want. Here's what we want, guys. Let me show you something. All right, this right here, this is Weld-Crete. Weld-Crete is a bonding agent. This is primed. Here's the thing, guys. It's a fact. Primer is for the paint, because if you prime a house, now that primer acts as like a first coat. The paint will adhere and last a lot longer if you prime a house. But if you prime stucco and expect a new stucco to adhere to it, it's not going to happen. It'll come off between 6 months to 1 year. It'll all come off, guys. So here's what we do. We apply a bonding agent. So whatever kind of bonding agent you want to apply, that's your business. But while I'm applying this, I'll explain something. Now this bonding agent right here, it's blue. And why do I use this particular? Well, it's been at the material yards since I've been in business, like 40 years. At all of, like, say, West Side Building Supply, Chase, Bay Supply, you name it. This particular bonding agent has been sold, so I'm kind of partial to it. Now, say, for example, there's Quick-Crete, Quick-Crete, Quick-Crete. They sell a bonding agent. Now their bonding agent is clear or white in color. It's not like this white. This is a primer, but their bonding agent is a clear. So when it's applied, you can't see it. And I say Quick-Crete is just about as good as Weld-Crete, because Quick-Crete has been in business longer than I've been alive, and that's a long time, guys. Anyway, you could use either, but the idea is you got to have a bonding agent. Otherwise, it won't adhere forever. I'll tell you a story. This is about 15, 20 years ago. We were putting a color coat finish on a house, and so we were pressure washing the house. You know, we pressure wash it to kind of micro etch the painted surface, and that scratches it sort of. You can't really see it, but if you use 4,000 psi strength from say a gas-powered pressure washer, it really etches it. And then you put the bonding agent on it, and that way the new stucco adheres. Well, we were doing this job. It was in Alameda, and the fellas next door were also getting a color coat. And I was watching these fellas, and these guys were not apprentices or young. In fact, I mean, they were far from spring chickens, but these guys were like 40 and 50. And what these guys were doing, instead of putting the bonding agent on the house, is they mixed up some stucco, raw stucco cement, and they were painting the raw stucco cement onto a painted surface. And I walked over and, trying not to be rude, I said, "What you guys think you're doing?" And the guy says, "Well, do you know why the color finishes it sticks?" I said, "Yes, I know why and how a color coat adheres to a wall. We're doing it right next door too." And he says, "Well, we mixed up the stucco and we're painting that on the painted surface so that our color coat will adhere." And I said, "You guys are wasting time, and you're going to be called back in 6 months. You're going to have to redo all this stuff. That's not how you do it." Anyway, make a long story short, I asked the homeowner what I was working on. I said, "Man, how well do you like your neighbor?" He says, "I like him a lot." And I said, "Well, maybe." See, I can't go criticizing my fellow contractors, but what they're doing isn't going to work. In 6 months, everything is going to come off, because they got to have some kind of bonding agent, guys. So there's a big difference between a primer and a bonding agent. So I figured I'd answer that, because a lot of people, they'll do us this and they'll say, "Kirk, we did you a favor." It's not a favor, guys, unless you're going to use a bonding agent. Anyway, moving on. See this weird finish here. Jay looked at it and he says, I'll make a template for you. So what he did was he took a scratcher and destroyed, or actually he, what's a better word than destroyed? He modified it. Okay, he modified it to this little guy here. Now, Lou mixed me up a bucket of mud over here. Now, depending on that mud, if that, I told him, mix me up some, not soupy mud, but watery mud. If this right here with the primer and the bonding agent, it's sealed. So if I put stucco on here, I already know it's going to take a while to set because it has no suction. Here, say for example, here, we're going to do this too. The stucco will adhere by suction. It'll dry it out instantly, but here it's not. So depending on the mud that I get here, I'll have to improvise when I see it. I'm going to spread this out real quick, probably 5 minutes to spread that out. And if it's soupy enough, what I can do is just go do some wiggly lines. These are like 8 inches, and then this is what we had. And I'm just going to create these little waves right here too, just like what they have here. Anyway, I'm going to get started and try this mud and see what I got to work with. And when I put it on, I'll know whether or not I've got to sharpen these right here. These tips right here are just an average scratcher. You put a first coat on, you scratch it. Put horizontal lines, guys, and that way the next coat adheres if you're not doing the same day system. Anyway, I'm looking at these. It's soupy mud and it's kind of wiggly. We're going to put that on right now and see if I can match that. All right, guys, let's see what kind of mud we got here. Give it to me. A little bit more, please. Cool beans. One more should do it. Yep. All right, there we go. Okay, guys. So now I'm going to put this mud here on. And the idea is just to fill this out where it needs to be. And again, I told Lou, hey, give it to me a little wet. That word soupy, it can be too soupy. It's just got to be wet enough so that this scratcher can make the marks. If it's too dry, it won't match. Let's see, I don't want to be in my own way. All right, blam, blam, huh. Come on now, get on there. Oh, what an apprentice. One more, Lou. That'll do it. Thank you, sir. And this is what we do is I'm using this as a template. So, what's a template? That means a guide. That's just a guide, guys. Guide. All right, now that I have this mud on here, I'll go around, try to stay out of my own way. Okay, now what I want to do is clean up the excess. Clean up the excess. All right. So, I mean, I just spread this, and I can see I'm going to need about 15 minutes because this mud is soupy, way too soupy, guys. But in 15 minutes, I'll come back, or no, I won't. I'm going to try this right now, guys, just because I can. So, that water down there? Yeah. I got it. Okay. Let's try something, guys. Wet your scratcher. Wet that guy. Look at the finish. Now, whoever did this, they were staying in a horizontal line. It's kind of straight. So here's the one. They're about 4 inches below. Let's see. So if I were to, and they're stagnant or staggering. And if you guys say, well, that doesn't match. and you try something and you say, man, that sucks, it doesn't match. Try it again, that matches. But just to prove a point, that matches. If you say it doesn't match, try again. Wet this all the time, otherwise it'll drag. Okay, same thing here. Now they staggered. They put this one here and this one staggered, kind of like plywood, stagger it. So, all right. This is not really a waste of this tool because we're going to be doing a lot more work on this particular house. So, this guy here will come in handy. Anyway, I'm going to let this set for a little bit, then we'll show you how we finish this off. All right, guys, you can tell it's Monday. Remember that song? Monday, Monday. I just did this patch right here while I was waiting, and I thought, dude, you're putting the cart before the horse. Okay, let's try something different, guys. I'm going to take some of this stucco off because I put the cart before the horse. We're going to take it off. Yep, it's Monday, all right, because I'm tripping. All right, I got to feather this in first before I put the design or in there. So this goes like so. We feather it in, guys, feather it in. We blend it in, otherwise my so-called texture won't match, or the feathering in will look amateurish, and you know we're trying to be professional. So here's what we do, guys. We feather it in first. Okay, now we do the texture. That just goes to show you guys, even us so-called professionals screw up sometimes, but the idea is when we leave, it's gotta match. So I'm just getting around this light, and that's about right now. So what I do is I take Jason's modified scratcher, take it, wet it, and now I'll put these little bitty guys in here. All right, let me see here. Okay. 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 Uh-huh. There we go. Little squiggly lines, little bitty guys here. Now that is a lot closer on the money, and anytime you're doing a patch job, guys, that say, for example, this has been painted a whole bunch of time. This is sandy right here. So that sand finish is going to show. So I definitely got to give this about 10 more minutes. And I'm going to show you one last thing, or I'll explain it. You take a sponge float right here. Now this guy right here, as this sand cures, dries, you hit it with a float. Now what happens is it gets all the loose stuff off. The granules, we want to get the granules off. I can see the sun's in my eyeballs. Okay, we get the granules off because that's a dead giveaway, or it just separates the amateurs from the professionals. We got to match this so-called painted surface right here, and that does not have all those granules in it. And even right here where it ties in, they have about, there's about 7 different textures, and a couple of them are right on the money, and then a couple of them are so far off that it's humorous. I'd show it to you, but somebody will always say, oh, you're just trying to make yourself look good by showing somebody else's crappy work. And that's not what it's about. We try to show the difference of why to do this, why to do that. Anyway, there it is. Now, in say 10 minutes, I could hit this top again just to get rid of a few granules, pull this plastic off, and it's done. All right, guys, I'm going to show you something that very few people understand. You see this brush here? It's a $2 throwaway brush. This brush is what we use after it dries up enough. Now notice that one up there. The corners, they're kind of all the edges and all that. I took all the sand down with this guy here. But you don't want to see me do that because it'll take me about 10, 15 minutes. And in that 10 and 15 minutes, I'll be doing a whole bunch of useless stuff that don't amount to nothing like this. I'll be rambling, talking about they robbed our truck and took my big hawk. And I finally got this one in the mail because I use a larger than normal hawk. I use an 18. Most are 14. Anyway, guys, I had to try my hawk out to see if it's worth using. And you spin it. I'm just messing around now, guys. Anyway, my name is Kirk, Jason on the camera. We thank you guys for watching. And as usual, we'll see you on the next one.
All right, folks, we want to thank you for watching how we do things in the stucco and plastering world. We really enjoy your questions and comments, so if there's anything you want to learn about that we can show you, please let us know in the comments. And as always, from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.